Following his most recent suspension, Chael Sonnen decided to start up a podcast and get into that game with Podcast One. So he's got a podcast called You're Welcome. Started off where it was just him on his own. He'd talk for 1 hour a week. Eventually that became an hour episode twice a week, and now they're at a point where it's 3 times a week, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Like I said, at first it was just him talking to the mic, and he started to bring guests on. And a lot of times when he'd go to the studio, he'd bring one of his good friends that he grew up with and knew really well, Joel Supernaw, with him. Joel, his most notable contribution to the game is that he's been in the car business a lot. He used to wrestle in college, but he'd owned some car dealerships. And when Team Quest was getting started, they started off training in the back of his car dealership. So he provided that for him and has been involved with Team Quest and a lot of that. But he hasn't really fought a whole ton. He fought a fight with Wes Sims where he lost in about 34 seconds by triangle. It sounds as though he's looking to fight Wes Sims again this year, sometime out in Portland. But his role on the show is more just kind of to be a guy that Chael can bounce ideas off of, to hear things off of. He likes to kind of create his own segments. He had his thing that he called the Nicky Bones, for example, where it's just like a way to get fans involved. But his role on the show really is kind of to be himself, which is a bit of an oaf, a bit of an idiot at times. And it's kind of funny to see it. And Chael, obviously being the guy he is really good at bringing it out of him. But every so often, Joel realizes that he's the oaf and he doesn't like it, so he blows up on Chael. And on their last episode on Friday, he had a really big blow up where he had walked out of the studio for a quick second, popped back in, and was kind of pouty the rest of the time. It sounded as though he was talking a lot about how he's like, if this is the last time I'm here, so be it. I don't care. I don't want you treating me like shit anymore. And Chael was just egging him on the whole time. And it's actually a really funny clip to listen to. You'd have to go to Podcast One to listen to it, and I'd recommend listening to the whole episode. I think the podcast in itself is a really good podcast. It's a really entertaining podcast. Chael's got a lot of interesting takes on what's going on in the MMA world. A lot of times you can tell that he isn't entirely sure of what's going on. He'll kind of read a headline and go into a full take based off of that as opposed to really doing all his research. But there are definitely some things where he's got good insider knowledge and has really good takes on it. So I recommend listening to that podcast. And for starters, it'd probably be an entertaining one to listen to the one from Friday with him and Joel blowing up on each other. But as far as whether or not I think Joel is going to be gone and Chael's going to go back to doing this on his own, I don't think that's the case. Joel has blown up on Chael before for the same type of reason. I think these guys, they've been friends for a while. They'll get over it. They'll work past it. They'll get back into another cycle, I'm sure, where Chael's a little bit nicer to him, but then over time he hits on Joel being the oaf. Joel doesn't like it anymore, and he might blow up again. But it seems like this is just kind of standard fare for them. The fact that this happened on a Friday and now we're waiting all the way from Friday to Wednesday over a 5-day period to see, are these guys done together? Are they coming back? Will Joel be back for the next episode? What's it going to be like? Are they going to still be angry at each other? How's that going to go? Knowing Chael's really good about playing these types of games, so it's possible that this might have been I guess they like to use a lot of pro wrestling terms, so there's a chance it might have been a work. I know Joel was yelling, it's a shoot, it's not a work, which I thought was kind of funny for him to be saying, but it seems like everything will be fine there. It's just a funny little sequence between them. It's definitely cool to listen into the drama, and I'll be listening to the podcast regardless because, like I said, it's a high-quality podcast, but it'll be fun to see.